Tonight, Chief Justice takes on the Speaker of Parliament, tearing into his interpretation of the Constitution in the vacant seats controversy.
File your processes by close of day tomorrow. This is a constitutional crisis. We are living in a country where the Parliament is not sitting. What is going on?
I'm not too sure that this suit is to enable Parliament sit. It's to declare.
Very well.
Yes,
I take it that's really in your
so
own
if I would
government.
plead that because this, look at the time that we are closing and the fact that we've done some work.
We have all the latest from the drama at the Supreme Court as he threw out the Speaker's attempt to overturn an earlier decision by the court suspending his declaration of vacant 4 seats in the House. You want to stay with us for all that and more here on Top Story. And Top Story is always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. The actions of the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbe, in the last couple of weeks on the vacant seats controversy was today front and center at the Supreme Court. He had attempted to overturn an earlier decision by the court suspending his declaration of 4 seats vacant. Now, today, the Supreme Court, chaired by the Chief Justice herself, Gertrude Tokonu, threw out the Speaker's application, tearing into his interpretation of the Constitution in the process. Well, if you missed anything, my colleague is joining me right now with details of that, just returning from the court, Kweku Asante, who has been in court today for us. Let's start from that flurry of objections that we saw at the beginning, raised right at the start of this, setting this up to be a very interesting day in court.
Well, yes, it did start from the Attorney General himself, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, who raised objections as to some 2 amendments that had been made by the law firm of Mr. Thaddeus Sorry in the application, specifically paragraph 21 and paragraph 49. He said part of those were completely scandalous and that he did not believe that because of the weightier nature of this case, the lawyers should be making such an amendment. Let me quote for you part of the amendments that had been made. In paragraph 21, it says that at all times material to the present application, Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice of the Republic, who presided over the court, always knew that a supposed service on the first defendant or the processes were made in breach of Articles 117 and 118. And he believed that that was indeed scandalous. Then there was 49 as well. So those were the objections that were raised by the Attorney General. Then came Thaddeus Sorry, who had an objection of his own, objecting to the inclusion of Justice Enes Yaogayewu, who he said was a former NPP parliamentary candidate in the Volta region, for which reason he must not be allowed to preside over this case. Listen to Thaddeus Sorry make his objection in the court.
It's a different legal question. It is important to place on record that both the plaintiff and the Attorney General have complied with these orders, and this court is able to complete.
Ask the court, please, Ismail.
So, Mr. Mr. Sorry, will you be filing anything? Or should we hear without you?
Oh, no, I don't have instructions on that matter, but especially so that if my lady looks at the affidavit that I filed, I said the order was served on the Speaker on Monday. So he has 7 days. I'll speak with him, draw his attention to the court's ruling. And then
so it was served on him on the order was served on him on Monday.
That's Monday.
Monday was 29th?
No, last Monday is the 20th.
Yeah. Monday just about 2 weeks ago.
No. Wait.
No.
On the 20th. It was served on the 20th.
On the 20th?
No,
and today is the
21st. It was 21st.
So he's gone past the 7 days?
No, but if he's served with the order on that specific day, telling him to file within 7 days, it takes effect from the date of service. That is my understanding.
So he was supposed to file by 28th?
No, by the rules of the court, where the time limited for doing something is 7 days or less, weekends.
So he was supposed to file by when?
If we take out today.
Today?
Yes.
This suit is a Friday for completion. File your processes by close of day tomorrow. This is a constitutional crisis. We are living in a country where the parliament is not sitting. What is going on?
I'm not too sure that this is to enable parliament sit. It's to declare.
Very well.
Yes,
I take it. That's really in your
so
own
if I would
government.
plead that because this, look at the time that we are closing and the fact that we've done some work.
Hear from Tadio Sorry pretty shortly on that fundamental objection he raised about the what he suspected to be the political leanings of one of the Supreme Court judges on the bench today. We'll get into that pretty shortly. But what we've just heard there is the part that obviously shows how tense the moments were. We have the Chief Justice herself complaining about why Parliament isn't sitting. Give us the context.
Yes, after the Chief Justice had delivered a ruling on the substantive matter, the Chief Justice, in fact, did say that in her opinion, there appeared to be even a constitutional crisis, that she does not understand why at this point in time the Parliament of Ghana is not sitting, given, of course, so many of the weighty matters that are before Parliament currently that the House is expected to ordinarily consider. And she did make those opinions after she had delivered a verdict of the court unanimously that actually dismissed the specifics of the argument that had been made by Mr. Tadio Sorry, which all of them, in fact, were opposed by the Attorney General himself, Godfrey Adame, and also opposed by Pakwesi Abedu. So that was the specific instance of some of those issues that were happening in court. But back to the specifics of the argument that was made by Mr. Tadio Sorry as to why he believed that Justice Ernest Yao Gayewu, given that he believed he served as a member of the New Patriotic Party before his elevation onto the Supreme Court bench, should not be part of the persons that were adjudicating this matter in this case. He did make that case. He sought to get the court to understand him and actually ask Justice Ernest Yao Gayewu to recuse himself. He was unsuccessful because the court did cite a number of persons, and in fact the Chief Justice cited Justice Gabriel Praman, a former PNC General Secretary. He also cited Justice Bodi, who is a High Court judge in the Volta region, who also used to be an NDC MP in the 90s.
I mean,
so he cited
point
those.
Is that the fact that that judge in question,
yes,
the Supreme Court judge, used to be a parliamentary candidate. This is a matter of fact.
It's a matter of fact, and the court actually took judicial notice of that. But then she went ahead
and you're in Parliament.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some context here.
Yeah.
I mean, because this is something that we also played out in Parliament.
Yes.
His nomination, confirmation, was held up for a long time.
Yes.
Because the NDC side were objecting because of his previous association with the MPP.
Well, yes, ultimately even had to come down to a vote, a last-minute vote that invariably he won, because some NDC MPs actually did vote for him when it came to that secret vote that was held in Parliament. And so the NDC MPs had made the case strongly from the appointment committee that there was absolutely no way they were going to allow Justice Ernest Yao Gayewu, who they said had political leanings, to actually go ahead and then, as it were, be allowed to go onto the Supreme Court. When it did come up, the Chief Justice did rule that when it comes to these matters, they do believe that Justice Ernest Yao Gayewu was in a very unique position to be able to actually adjudicate on this matter, because according to them, there were so many other persons that have certain political leanings. They perhaps may have abandoned it, and as we speak are currently on the higher court. So the Chief Justice made that ruling, CJ rule, that's one where he makes the point and says that because of these key issues, there was no way Justice Ernest Yao Gayewu was going to recuse himself.
So the preliminary objections raised to paragraphs 21 and 49 of applicant's affidavit will be addressed in the final ruling on this application. On the objection to a panel member being a former member of a political party, this court must take judicial notice of the fact that within the ranks of the Superior Courts is a former member of Parliament for the National Democratic Congress, a former General Secretary of the People's National Convention, it should be well understood that when Parliament approves a qualified citizen to be a justice of the Superior Courts, pursuant to Article 1284, the representatives of this country have appreciated the ability of that qualified person to contribute to justice delivery in the country. Second, the subject matter of this suit before this court is a constitutional dispute and not a matter involving political parties. The objection is therefore misconceived. Move your application.
So what was his main application?
Well, then he proceeds to actually make the case for why he believes that the Supreme Court must vacate its order. That order that stayed in the hands of the Speaker, that ruling of the Speaker of Parliament declaring 4 seats vacant. He says, the writ filed by Alexander Afenyo-Markin and his lawyers is incurably flawed. He does not believe that the Supreme Court had jurisdiction to hear this matter. The Supreme Court could not have stayed the ruling of the Speaker of Parliament because it was not a court. And that again, the ex parte application that was made and which the court granted was made in breach of natural justice. And also, finally, that the orders should not have exceeded the 10 days that the court granted.
The writs or the processes on the basis of which the court's jurisdiction was invoked for the order are void because they were filed in violation of the rules of the courts. The rules of the court are within the cognizance of the court, so I will not belabor them. But it's important to state right from the outset that they concede the fact that the processes were filed contrary to the rules of the courts. But all they are saying in the affidavit of opposition is that the court is capable of carrying, not by reference to Rule 79 of the rules of the court, but Order 81 of the High Court rules. But we are saying that that irregularity is incurable. That even if it were curable, which it is not, the court's jurisdiction, substantive jurisdiction, to entertain the matter as a whole was not properly invoked. Was not properly invoked because the court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the matter as a matter, the purpose of which is to determine whether or not the seat of a member of parliament is vacant. That matter belongs exclusively to the jurisdiction of the High Court. And this court has affirmed that consistently, not deviated even one, that if it has to do with the membership of a person in parliament, that belongs in the realm of the High Court, not this court. But I want to emphasize the point that, admittedly, in every instance, they would say that the facts on the basis of which they are before this court arise. There will be a dispute between two people regarding whether or not the person properly is a member of parliament or not. And that has to be determined by reference to the constitutional provisions. It won't make it a dispute properly invoking the original jurisdiction of the court.
Well, what was the position of the Attorney General?
Well, the Attorney General came in with quite some strong words. He said that the application is offensive to the rules of court. It's completely unknown. The court should completely throw it out. In fact, he took on the way and manner the lawyers for the Speaker of Parliament had sought to sort of abuse the process of court to try and get the court to give them a favorable ruling.
Respectfully, the instant application seeks an order setting aside the process and proceedings of the court and vacating the order of the court. Respectfully, the decision in question was in exercise of right. Respectfully, as if you want to trade clause 1, the review, as you see, 133, I'm sorry, 133, the review is of the court. Respectfully, my contention is that this provision is a rule under which a person aggrieved by a decision of the court comes by to seek a review operation of the decision, the instant application is not an application for review. It doesn't invoke the court's review powers, and is therefore unknown to the laws governing the decision of the court. Especially Article 134 also vests the Supreme Court with the same powers of review of a decision of a single justice. Indeed, the decision in question was not by a single justice. But the point I seek to make is that whenever a decision of the court is being sought to be reviewed, varied, or discharged, the procedure for doing so is as set out in the Constitution. And this is not an invocation of any of those procedures. The second point we make is that the application mixes up grounds for a substantive defense to the action with matters that, in the view of the first defendant, constitutes a basis for a setting aside of the service. And this respectfully is wrong. The court will notice that on the face of the motion paper,
and that day is the AG on that particular subject. And then came the Chief Justice's ruling on the matter, and she didn't hold back.
Yes, they did take quite some break to ponder on the decision. And when they came back, the Chief Justice, reading the unanimous decision of the court, took on the Speaker of Parliament and the way he had understood how servicing is supposed to be done. He says, as far as the court is concerned, proper service was done. When it comes to the way Parliament does its work, the court does not consider that it was overreaching. But listen to the Chief Justice in her own words. Tear apart the submissions that were made in court by Thaddeus Sore in arriving at this decision.
An order of stay of execution must be made on consideration of exceptional circumstances that can affect the parties, which exceptional circumstances include the wreaking of irreparable harm if an order of stay of execution is not granted. In the ruling of the Supreme Court on 18th October 2024, the Supreme Court was very clear that its orders were being made because of the exceptional circumstances that would flow from the effect of the ruling of the Speaker of Parliament declaring the 4 seats vacant and a determination not to allow the MPs to remain in Parliament. What are some of the effects that weighed on our minds as exceptional circumstances that were alluded to in the ruling? The 4 constituencies of Amenfi Central, Fomena, Aguna West, and Suhum in the Western region, Ashanti region, Central region, and Eastern regions of Parliament are made up of hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians who had queued to elect these members of Parliament to represent their interests in Parliament as their voices. By declaring that their duly elected representatives in Parliament had vacated their seats for acts that were interpreted within the light of Article 97(1)(g) by the Speaker, the Speaker was actually enforcing this interpretation of Article 97(1)(g) against those hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians, and not just the 4 people that sit in Parliament. He was also doing so at a time that, from the official records of Parliament presented to the Supreme Court, the Speaker knew that a contrary interpretation was being placed on the same constitutional provision, and that the Supreme Court's jurisdiction had been invoked to provide the correct interpretation. By reason of law, there could be no by-election to replace these elected representatives between 17th October 2024 and 7th January 2025. So,
2024.
7th January 2025. 2025. So these Ghanaians would have been left without a voice and representation in Parliament from 18th October 2024 until 7 January 2025, when the 9th Parliament can be duly constituted in Ghana. This exceptional circumstance, arising from the outcome of the ruling, weighed on the mind of the Supreme Court to grant an order directing a stay of execution of the ruling of the Speaker on 17th October 2024. Second, the effect of this ruling would be that the salaries, allowances, and other emoluments of these members of Parliament would have had to stop being paid immediately. They would have had to vacate their offices in Parliament and cease functioning on any committee of Parliament that they were serving on. If any of them was a minister or deputy minister and had been appointed as such by reason of being members of Parliament, the ruling that they had vacated their seats could have brought those duties to an immediate halt. Indeed, one of the 4 members of Parliament is the current second Deputy Speaker of Parliament. The Supreme Court was very clear that these outcomes that could cause irreparable harm to the constituencies in issue and the MPs themselves constituted exceptional circumstances to warrant a halt of the ruling of the Speaker until the controversy raised had been resolved.
And I want to bring in right now Kwekuas Nasari, is he a former director of the Ghana School of Law, with thoughts on this. Also joining me is Frank Davis, Chairman, Constitutional Legal Committee of the MPP, also joins me right now. Mr. Nasari, I want to start with you. What do you first give me your reaction to what we just had there, the ruling that was delivered by the Chief Justice herself?
In simple terms, yet another example of our current Supreme Court living up to its accolade as an all too predictable court. They did not go by the rules of the game. I still stand by what I said last week. Their jurisdiction was not properly invoked, and today the Chief Justice has been heard saying that the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court was invoked when the Speaker made a ruling. Let me correct that erroneous impression. The jurisdiction of the Supreme Court can never, ever be invoked after the Speaker has made a ruling in chamber. The Supreme Court's long arm does not reach out to the chamber of Parliament. And therefore, whatever the Speaker says on the floor of the House or in chamber does not and will never constitute a proper invocation of the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. But let's look at a more fundamental and serious objection to what has happened, in Ghana today.
Yeah, but you make the point, the first point you made, though, that the Chief Justice was very clear that there were exceptional circumstances that the Supreme Court could not sit on the fence on. He talks about the fact that if the Speaker's actions had not been stayed, we would have had irreparable damage done to the thousands of constituents in those 4 constituencies. The Supreme Court certainly cannot sit on the fence on that particular matter.
I beg to differ. As far as I'm concerned, those words or pronouncements of the Chief Justice raise the all-important question of when the court can descend into the arena of politics. What the Supreme Court did today was a descension into the arena of politics. What were those exceptional circumstances? Were the justices of the Supreme Court visiting the various constituencies to know the feelings or views of the constituents? That is for the MPs to do, not for justices of the Supreme Court. My brother, we are wrong. I think that for once, let every Ghanaian stand up to defend the Constitution. Some of these pronouncements will do more harm than good. We have a crucial election next month. This is not the time for justices of the Supreme Court appointed by the ruling government to say thank you, outgoing government. We are sick and tired of this thing happening in Ghana, and nobody says anything. For now, you know, for the present generation, we will speak for them. The Supreme Court has no business entering the arena of Parliament. Now, if those constituents have any grievances, they should, you know, pour their adverts onto their MPs who knew the political consequences of the cha-cha or ludo that they were playing. That's exactly in the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution. There are certain extenuating circumstances that will call into question, you know, whether or not the Speaker should declare, you know, certain vacancies, certain seats vacant, and that's exactly what he did. Now, if the Supreme Court is now delving into the background of appointees, this one former General Secretary of this, that one, then it means that the Supreme Court has now reduced itself or metamorphosed into a wing of the ruling government. So now, responding to the NDC, when you did it, you were pleased and delighted. Now it is our turn. What are we saying?
Stay with me. I want to bring in Frank Davis. Frank Davis, you agree with that?
Good evening first to your esteemed listeners and cherished viewers. I rather would hope, even, that you give me the same length of time you've given to Mr. Sassan, because he's made some very, 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 very worrying and troubling statements. I mean, and let me respond. Don't interrupt me, with all due respect. Now, in the first place, Mr. Ansasari is a very senior member of our bar. I hold a lot of respect for him, being the director of the law school and being involved in the administration and education of lawyers in this country. For Mr. Ansasari to come on radio, senior lawyer, to come and say that the Supreme Court has become as predictable as he says, I mean, it's unfortunate. It is really unfortunate, but I will expect that Mr. Ansasari, as senior as he is, even when he wants to disagree with the Supreme Court, it will be purely on matters of law, but not this kind of language. How predictable is the Supreme Court? So when matters go before the Supreme Court should look at one end of the pale and give a decision which is not backed by law. And Mr. Ansasari wants to say that because the present members of the Supreme Court bench have been appointed by this government, then that Supreme Court is useless. So when vacancies, I'm asking Mr. Ansasari, as a senior lawyer and a trained one as that when vacancies occur on the Supreme Court bench, who was supposed to appoint them? Him? When vacancies occurred on the Supreme Court bench, who was to appoint them? Him? At all material times, who has appointed justices to the Supreme Court? Mr. Ansasari. Who has appointed justices to the Supreme Court? Hello? If Mr. Ansasari was in court today,
I'm listening, yes.
He would have been fixed with knowledge. Why the ruling which was handed. He didn't come to court. He should have come to listen to the recent ruling of the Supreme Court bench. And now, let me tell you something. When he says the Supreme Court has become a political wing, and that the Supreme Court is now calling out members of the bench who have once upon a time been members of parliament and have been secretary generals of political parties. Now, who raised that objection? Mr. Ansasari, who raised that objection? It was Tadio Sorry who raised an objection against Justice NSMQ that he should not be on the bench because he was once upon a time a member of a political party. And the Chief Justice, in her ruling, said this is not novel. They are present members of the Judicial Service and on the bench who have been members of Parliament, of the NDC, and General Secretaries of political parties. How does the Supreme Court, by this, descend into the arena of politics? And if Mr. Ansasari is saying that the Supreme Court has turned into a political chamber, I don't understand him. Because most of the cases which are taken to the Supreme Court are political cases. Is the Supreme Court not a policy court? Mr. Ansari, is the Supreme Court not a senior ones as that? We should not learn ourselves to this because we are not teaching the young ones any good thing.
Well, Mr. Davis, he also makes a fundamental substantive point, and I've heard other legal luminaries make the point too, that the Supreme Court has a 40-year jurisprudence around not answering that political question, that entering into the arena of Parliament and allowing Parliament as a master of its own rules to dictate what happens there. And the view there is that the Supreme Court, in doing what they've done now, is simply entering into an arena that then opens itself up for this exact criticism.
Evans, that I don't know who you refer to as legal luminaries. You people say this, you say this and get away with it. Who are those legal luminaries? Who are those legal luminaries in your estimation? People you interview, they call themselves eminent lawyers, legal luminaries. Who are they? No, let me tell you, there is no parliamentary supremacy in Ghana. There is no parliamentary supremacy in Ghana. Okay? Parliament is a master of its proceedings. Let's get the distinction. Parliament is the master of its proceedings, but Parliament is not the master of the laws of this country. It is the Supreme Court which has the sole presence of interpreting and enforcing the Constitution of this country. So if the Speaker descends into the arena of interpretation, Article 97, 1G, it's not a football point.
I mean, are you disagreeing with the point, long-held view, that the courts have traditionally restricted and refrained from answering that political question?
You don't want to listen to me and understand.
I'm asking a simple
when
question.
you read Article 2 of the Constitution, you'll not be asking me this question again. If look, the Constitution is sui generis. It is a unique document which is interpreted according to the dictates of its character, the distinct dictates of its character. So if matters arise and it calls for constitutional interpretation, where should the people go? To Parliament? Even if the President is answerable and amenable to the directives and orders of the Supreme Court, which other person in this country is not? Which other person in this country is not? Answer me. In Article 2, if the President disobeys any directive order of the Supreme Court, he is liable for impeachment. So is the Vice President. Any other person who does that suffers the penalty of high crime. And do you know the offense? Do you know what it carries? So many people, yes, Parliament is a master of its proceedings. But Parliament is not the master of the laws of this country.
Stay with me. Sorry, he has a point there, does he not? That you make the point about the courts traditionally wanting to enter into that arena. But there are unique, exceptional circumstances, to use the words of the Supreme Court on this particular matter, especially in a jurisdiction where we don't have parliamentary supremacy like we have in the UK. And rightly so, the Supreme Court today, having examined the facts, thought it is a matter that they should weigh in. And in fact, the Speaker was in the arena of interpreting the Constitution on Article 97G. And that rightly is the domain and the preserve of the Supreme Court. Mr.
Hello?
Nazari? Yes.
No, and I'm saying that I beg to differ. You see, those exceptional circumstances pronounced upon by the Lady Chief Justice were not existent at the time that the ex parte application was judicially considered by the learned justices of the Supreme Court. I'm saying that the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court can only be properly invoked when the parties are physically present.
It's not true.
Or in front of the court or justices of the court. Or when they have voluntarily submitted to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. The ex parte application that was judicially considered on the 18th of October was ex parte, meaning it was without notice to the other side. So one, if it was not on notice to the other side, then our jurisprudence required that any interim order or interlocutory order that will be made should not exceed 10 days. And that if after the 10 days, the applicants had not brought the respondent on notice, then the order would lapse. The Supreme Court did not follow that procedural guideline. What the Supreme Court did was to hear the application and make a pronouncement that had the effect of ad infinitum.
But they are not obliged to follow.
That is where I am cavilling, at the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. But let me just take the opportunity to remind my very good friend Frank Davis, because he and I were part of the Nanadu team, that they had the Kwedu Ponsem case, that is 29 politicians, that's the K.A. Bedema and 28 others, versus Chairman Rawlings, which was heard by Justice Kwedu Ponsem. And he should only recap, his mind and remember the discussion we had, that it was something that had never occurred in our jurisprudence. I'll also remind him when Rose Ekwam versus Kwame Pianing, Justice Pega was empaneled as a single justice of the Supreme Court to hear the application, which was eloquently argued by no other person than the present president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. At the end of the verdict of Pega, the whole MPP machinery descended on Justice Pega as making a political pronouncement. I'll never forget that. Because I was junior counsel, just like my good friend Frank Davis. So what I'm saying is that
what's the point of reminding him about these facts?
Don't make a right. Too wrong. Don't make a right. For time, our justices stop descending into the arena of politics and doing, the bidding of ruling government. That's all that I'm saying.
Professor, you had said in this interview that the Supreme Court is becoming, or has become indeed, a political wing of the governing party. You should stand by that.
Yes, I do. And there's no evidence. It didn't begin with the current Supreme Court.
No, but there's no evidence to support that. In fact, it borders on contempt of the court to suggest that the good justices of the Supreme Court have become a wing of the governing political party.
There's the evidence of perception.
Yeah, but the perception is on reality.
If you think that perception, has no role to play in our body politic, then maybe I'm urging you to recognize that perception, as far as our people are concerned, perception is all that matters to them. For them, what the Supreme Court has been doing, since the appointment of some of the justices, is to say, Mr. President, thank you. You are about to exit, and this is the opportunity. Now, let me comment on Justice Gau's empaneling.
Yes, and that is an important point, is it not? I mean, that subject was fair to have been raised.
Whoever decided to bring him, onto the panel, had done a calculable harm.
Why?
To Mother Ghana. Let me tell you why. Justice Gau, who is also one of my friends, was one of the MPP serial callers. And when he was nominated, I remember hinting that was going to create problems for the MPP. Now, if
I don't have any evidence to support that he was a serial caller. What is on record is that he was.
I listen to your comments.
But factually, what is?
And then number two.
No, I mean it's important to make the point that even the lawyer who objected to this didn't cite him as being a serial caller. What was cited in court today was that he was a parliamentary candidate for the MPP. That's a matter of fact. I don't have any evidence to support that he was a serial caller.
Yeah, but is that not much more than the evidence you are looking for?
Yeah, I rather you use the facts than put out information that I can verify, and that obviously is not backed by any evidence as I see in front of me right now.
Okay, well, because this is a serious, discussion, I'll drop that and focus, on his parliamentary candidacy. You see, now everybody knew, and when he was during his vetting, these issues, came to the fore, and were considered, by everybody. People talked about it. It was on radio and this thing. If I were Justice Gao, I would decline sitting, and therefore I would have accepted or taken the Learned Council's invitation to recuse myself, immediately to step down and, suggest to the Lady Chief Justice, please, I have a conscience, and therefore I'm not going to do, what I'm being asked to do. Remember 2 weeks ago, I said we should look again at the qualification for appointment onto the Superior Court bench.
Yeah,
the persons who become justices of the Supreme Court, they will say 15 years and then high moral character and all that. We need a third, conscience.
And Frank Davis, though, I mean, he makes a point about the Supreme Court itself continuing to create a situation where they are not simply trusted. And the perception is that they are in the pockets of the politicians. That is a perception. But if you look at the Afrobarometer report that was just released, there is some evidence there, and it's in there, that the Supreme Court, the judiciaries, the courts, they are one of the least trusted institutions. That clearly shows that perception he talks about is no longer just perception. There's a fundamental problem. And this predictability is what has fed into the results we've seen in the Afrobarometer report. You can't dismiss that.
Ivan, you see, we should not be throwing up. We should not be throwing up things without any context. We should not be just throwing up things in the air.
What's the context?
Ivan, please.
Evan, let me give you.
Sorry. When you were speaking, it was quiet. I want to hear him. I want to hear about it. Yes, Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis. No. Proceed. Yes.
Serious matters we are discussing. Let me talk. And please, Mr. Ansari has made a lot of sweeping statements. Don't do respect to my learned friend. He's a very good friend, like he said, the senior. How can you, Mr. Ansari, at your level, how can you call Justice Jehu a serial caller on radio?
He stepped that down. He stepped that down.
He didn't, but he
has stepped that down.
But he said,
but he has stepped that down.
How can he, in the first place, even call Justice Jehu a serial caller? I mean, that is offensive. I think tomorrow you should apologize to him. That is offensive. I think as a senior and trained lawyer, director of the law school,
I will do those words. Frank, I will do those words. But more importantly, I'm saying that. Frank,
Mr. Sasari, allow him to make his point. And yes, you stepped that down. I pointed that to him. I want you to make his substantive point now. Mr. Davis?
You shouldn't interrupt me, please. When he was talking, I was quiet. I never interrupted him.
Okay, sorry. You go on. Sorry.
Now, Mr. Sasari is treading a very dangerous path, a very troubling. So, Mr. Sasari is saying that when we had the 2013 election petition, and Atukuba, who was appointed by the NDC, when we had that election petition, because Justice Atukuba was the president of the panel, And because he has been appointed by the NDC, he skewed judgment in favor of the NDC, Mr. Sassari. And that was not a political discourse. I mean, come on. You see, let's get over. So, Mr. Sassari, you qualify to be a justice of the Supreme Court, so as I also qualify. Are you trying to say that because of our political leanings, if today I decide to elevate myself to the bench of the Supreme Court, because I once upon a time associated myself with the MPP, I should not go to the bench? Come on, Mr. Sassari, come on, please. We are lawyers first before we become judges. We are lawyers before we become judges.
No, but Mr. Davis, you're missing the point about the case in question. Nobody has said you can go onto the Supreme Court if you are known to be associated with the party in the past. In fact, the Supreme Court is rightly pointing out today that Scott Palmer, who was appointed by the John Mahama, was a former General Secretary of the PNC. He's on the Supreme Court. But on this particular matter, how highly politically charged it is within the context of an election which is just over 30 days away, was it right to have on this panel a former parliamentary candidate of the MPP?
There was nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong, nothing. Absolutely nothing, zero wrong with it. Now, the justices who sat on the 2013, on the 20 election petition, presidential election petition, they were not justices.
Yeah, my Frank David, justice must not only be done, it must be seen to have been done.
I'm saying that there is nothing wrong. If the man has gone for constitutional vetting, he has been vetted by Parliament. And he's now a justice of the Supreme Court. Nobody can stop him from sitting on any case. Not anti-Sarist diffusions on radio. Nobody. The Chief Justice has the sole prerogative to empanel the justices who sit on cases in the Supreme Court. And if Justice Dewu have been empaneled, he has no business recusing himself. I mean, we should stop this. So let me ask a question. When Atuforsin's case went to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal rightfully, in their judgment, acquitted and discharged Atuforsin and Jakpa. There was nothing wrong with it. Those justices were not appointed during the time of the MPP. When they acquitted and discharged Jakpa and Atuforsin, there was nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with it. They were the best justices in this country. You see, don't let us start doing this business of Afrobarometer and whatever. Where do they get their sources from? Look, if a matter
are you questioning the integrity of that Afrobarometer report, Frank Davis?
I'm saying, where did they get their sources from?
I mean, it's obvious. They spoke to Ghanaians across the country.
How many Ghanaians did they speak to? How many?
Frank Davis, you're questioning the Afrobarometer report accepted across the continent as preeminent research.
We are setting dangerous precedents because the perception that the Supreme Court is planned or the Supreme Court is political. I mean, I believe it's the most notorious perception that has been made. And me, Frank Davis, as a trained lawyer, I'll never stand up for this.
Mr. Davis, thank you very much. Quick one, sorry. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And that's Frank Davis, the chairman of the Constitutional Legal Committee of MPP. Quick one, sorry. He's a former director, Ghana School of Law, very senior members of the legal fraternity. Speaking to us on what has happened in court today. I know you have your own views on this particular subject. I want to hear it. 055-1111-997. And I want to hear from Yusuf Hussaini, who joins us now. Is a former Minister of Roads and Highways, former ranking on the Constitutional Legal Affairs Committee. The NDC, they have a significant stake in this matter also. And they have also been in court today, many of their reps, and I want to pick the thoughts of Mr. Hussaini on what has happened. Quickly give me your reaction to the verdict of the Supreme Court today on this very controversial matter. I mean, I've lost him there. I want to hear from you. 055-1111-997. Still here on Newsnight. NDC flag bearer John Mahama hits back at his main political opponent, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, over his deliberate attempt to ignore his pressing 5 questions on the economy, insisting Ghanaians are not interested in his useless 50 questions.
And that's why I gave you the 5th question. Why are you running away from economy? Because you were brought in to fix the economy. The economy is in a terrible state. Just answer the 5 questions.
We'll hear more from the former president, but also from the vice president, who has also thrown his own questions to John Dramani Mahama. And then, of course, the NSMQ grand finale. The precious 1 point that denied St. Augustine's College the third chance at winning the National Science and Maths Quiz Competition title for the year 2024.
At the end of the contest, Kecha Senior High Technical School has 32 points. St. Augustine's College has 46 points. Infant Sipim School has 47 points. Infant Sipim School. It is my pleasure to congratulate you on winning the contest. Well done, 2024 champions!
You want to stay with us for that and more, and the whole Cape Coast is now red and blue.
Although we have not won, but we have the guarantee that next year the trophy will come back to Keta School. And then Gakpeto, I'm just praying that he has to calm down. Shouldn't worry too much. And to those watching us at home, don't be heartbroken. Next year the trophy is coming to Keta School.
Another word there from the students from the Keta Senior High School, where they put up a very brave fight indeed. I want to stay with us for details of that and more all here on News Night after this.
Business in every woman, from the young lady brimming with exciting and novel business ideas to the market queen managing her empire. There's the she architect, quantity surveyor, realtor, business consultant, crafting dreams into reality, and the multitasking mom seamlessly blending work at home. The entrepreneur, meticulously checking stock, to the corporate woman sealing deals on the move. Indeed, there's a business in every woman. Introducing Telecel Women in Business, our initiative to empower women-led and women-owned enterprises. Benefit from tailored activities, networking, business and technical support, free webinars, trainings, and more. To join this initiative, be a female-led business and a Telecel business customer. Visit telecel.com.gh/business to register now.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
2024 parliamentary and presidential elections. Kofi Apawu and Sama Tomi team here. Media Matuamano.
Liberal Party of Ghana LPG presidential candidate say or we never be president here. We need to makura busumibia na ban betuawuka 700 Ghana cedis. Akwadebia baji 500 Ghana cedis. Afi $10 billion job fund for young entrepreneurs. Now by 2028, now we're fixing Ghana. Kapanyina.
Omo omadi mfie du nwotwe ekwani mfie so kokora na mrewa a omo nya adwuma no so will pay them unemployment benefits. They tell say obi ya adwuma ba na katua na wonya no it's nothing to write home about. It be man supplement.
University education free Wi-Fi for all schools and colleges, affordable housing and rental accommodation. Galamsey no small scale mining and also obesheni ye. Said the buyer Mensah Ghana and Sasini issue was say na ban be makwa man for edua marijuana for industrial use. It is a woko to abanwa December 7 presidential box on so baby Kofi Apawu na omeje Ghana.
Number 5.
Hey, Makasada.
Get ready.
Every objection against you is hereby dismissed.
For Impact 2024 with the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, Reverend Dr. Eastwood Anaba, Apostle Joshua Selman, Apostle Isi Igeneba, Bishop Dr. Bernard Ojiri Asari, and Reverend Dr. David Inkri, November 24th to December 1st, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily at Action Chapel International Prayer Cathedral, Dominion Arena. For inquiries or bars information, call 059-230-0069.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
And if you missed it, the National Science and Maths Quiz Grand Finale just ended. And guess what? A Fantipim school, they are the new champions. And as you know, the bragging rights are already out there for all to see. And guess who they beat? St. Augustine's. And I know a few people right now listening who are licking their wounds already. The Kita SHS also did brilliant indeed. We're going to be crossing over pretty shortly to campus there and getting the reactions to this. But listen to what really transpired at the end when the quiz mistress announced those final results.
At the end of the contest, here are the final scores. Keta Senior High Technical School has 32 points. St. Augustine's College has 46 points. Infant Sipim School has 47 points. Keta Senior High Technical School. Do I get the smile? If you made this far, you have done so well. And I am proud to declare you 3rd place. You are not going empty-handed. You solved 2 of the riddles in the Super Bonanza. That gives you 2,000 Ghana cedis. Well done. St. Augustine's College, thank you for giving us an excellent contest. You did very well. You did very well. And I'm happy to declare you 2nd place. Infant Sipim School. You solved 1 of the riddles, so you'll get 1,000 Ghana cedis. In addition to that, your score is the highest for today. So for getting the highest score, you win the Pepsodent Highest Scorer Award, which at this stage is worth 10,000 Ghana cedis. But it is my pleasure to congratulate you on winning the contest. Well done, 2024 champions!
And I want to take you live right now to the Infantipim School where my colleague has been speaking and getting reactions. And this really is live. You can imagine that the students on campus right now, they are in a state of ecstasy, giving us reactions to what has happened today with the win that they've scored against St. Augustine's and Kita SHS.
But today, 2024, I can say all schools in Ghana, Boche is the best school. And I'm proud of my school. I'm proud of Boche. I'm proud of Boche.
Okay,
so there's still so much excitement. There's still so much excitement here in Infantipim. Well, we still want to get some reactions from some of the students. Yes, who's coming?
I feel very excited, like literally. My whole body is boiling up. My whole body is boiling up. Literally.
Okay, so what position? Do you have a position in the school?
Protocol prefect.
Protocol prefect. How are you feeling about this win?
Feeling very ecstatic, just like everyone here. You know, in the final moments, it reminded me of a saying which I would like to reiterate in Italian. Non c'è mai stato un momento nella storia che la porrà forza la soluzione.
And what does it mean? There's plenty things you're saying. What does it mean?
Meaning, there has never been a time in history where fear was a solution.
So he's protocol prefect for the Infantipim school, and it's drizzling here. I mean, showers of blessing.
Indeed, showers of blessing indeed. I want to take you to the campus of Keta SHTS, where my colleague James Abeji is standing by for us. They lost, but Abeji, I guess that they still have significant pride in the performance of their representatives in the National Science and Maths Quiz. Going into this, they were significant underdogs, but they put up a brave fight, did they not?
Yes, indeed, Evans. They have pride in the fact that they have been to the finals at least twice in 5 years, in 2021, 2022, 23, and now in 2024, actually 4 years. And in those 2 years, they were regional champions. They won the regionals in 2021 as well as this year before going to the nationals and still making their way to the finals. As to what is exactly happening here now, all is gone dead and silent on campus because the students have been active. Cheering their compatriots on all the way in Cape Coast the whole day with brass band music and all the drama you can think of. Hundreds of them packed themselves into the assembly hall where the giant screen projecting the Joy News channel was way before the opening ceremony started. And just when the last reader was solved and they knew that where they were, nothing could save them any longer. They started making their way out of the assembly hall one after the other. Now they've made their way through the dormitories and the classrooms. But when I spoke to them, they are hopeful that by next year, they believe in the Trinity. And so next year, when they make their way to the nationals again, they are hopeful they will get to the finals and win the trophy on their third attempt. And so that's how campus has been from morning till now, Evan.
James, thank you very much. I want to take you to the UCC campus now where the event itself was held, and my colleague Jackie is on the line with me. Jackie, we're waiting for the presentation of the trophy and what comes with it. Has that happened yet?
Well, Evan, currently the students are related with the students outside. The celebration here is immense. You know what? The Christmas dress gave the final riddle and Keshatko took it, and in front of them, boys saw that they had won. They started jubilation, so some of the stuff ongoing right now has been stalled because of the excitement and the euphoria happening in here at the NEC auditorium. It will commence pretty soon.
Jackie swam there by the jubilating students of Infantipim. Of course, who can blame them? They're excited. They won it. The National Science and Maths Quiz. The bragging. It's not about the bragging rights, but also about elevating the status of your school if you win. And that's exactly what the Infantipim school have done. Just listening to that contest, it was fierce at some points.
Also known as Oxidane, or by my parody name, dihydrogen monoxide. Frederick. Frederick.
Water.
Yes.
St. Augustins, they've been the loudest in the lead up to this. You may have heard Kojo Young sing on the Super Morning Show. Excited, looking forward to this because he thought they were going to win. They lost. I want to take you to their campus right now, also in Central Region, and my colleague is standing by with the very latest from there. What's the reaction from campus? Eric,
hello, Ivan.
Yes, what's the reaction from campus? I see, I can hear in the background. It's very quiet. They've gone to bed early.
Evans, the look of anguish, despair, frustration, sadness sums up the mood here on the campus of St. Augustine's College, where they were looking forward to clinching it for the third time. The excitement level was high right through from the first round to the last round. They're optimistic that their boys were going to bring the trophy to their campus. I mean, I can also confirm that a few of the students have gathered with drums in anticipation that the Jama will go all through the night, but that didn't materialize. It is sadness that has engulfed the entire St. Augustine's College. And even interestingly, I mean, if you attended the Catholic school, I know you went to Queen Anne's, there is rosary, and the boys are saying, "Jan's going to pray to Holy Mary."
Thank you very much, Eric, there giving us the reaction from the campus at St. Augustine. I'm looking for the Super Morning Show tomorrow. All the St. Augustine boys who will be shouting and screaming. I hope you're not one of those boys, James.
No.
Apam?
No. I went to St. John's School, second year.
St. John's. But somebody went to Apam because Ms. Bao. Yes, okay. You're laughing at Apam.
Well, I'm not laughing at Apam, but
at least finish your sentence.
Well, at least St. John's went to the quarterfinal and we lost by just a point.
You have a point there.
Yeah.
But
next year we're coming strong.
Okay, no problem. Congratulations to the Infantipim boys.
Yeah,
and as
they really did well.
Our chief executive is smiling by now because
exactly.
He's an old boy. Listen, I want to hear from you on all the stories you've heard here from Top Story onto News 905511119997. I'll share your thoughts with the rest of the world after business.
All right, so coming up in business this evening, Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research cautions government against overspending this year due to electioneering pressures. And still, in this bulletin, government must be deliberate about adopting homegrown policies to ensure sustainable business practices. That is a call from the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tanks, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal.
Visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244-308-111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Attention CEOs, join Ghana's top 1,000 CEOs, policymakers, political leaders, and ambassadors for the first Ghana CEO Presidential Manifesto Gala Dinner 2024 on November 7, 2024 at the Mervyn Pig Hotel, Accra from 6 to 10:30 p.m. This historic event will focus on reigniting the business economy and social contract for growth, a business manifesto for political accountability and sustainable development. Special guests of honor include His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Vice President of Ghana, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former President of Ghana. Attendance is by invitation and requires pre-registration. Register at ceogaladina.ceonetworkgh.com. For inquiries, contact 0546391970 or email ceogaladina@gmail.com. This event is powered by Chief Executives Network Ghana in partnership with Deloitte, PwC, University of Ghana, SIGA, GIPC, UPSA Law, and the Multimedia Group. The first Ghana CEO Presidential Manifesto Gala Dinner 2024, connecting political ambitions with business realities.
Yeah. We have a new leader
here in town. Obiarentie. Amanfo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal packed with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
From the classroom to the lab, from the village to the city, the NPP's commitment to education is building a brighter Ghana. Free SHS isn't just about free tuition, it's an investment in Ghana's future. We have topped it up with free TVET and STEM education, skilled graduates, innovative thinkers, and a thriving economy. That's the promise of free SHS.
3 of my cousins have benefited from free SHS since 2017. One has graduated and is in nursing training. The other 2 are also in the university. I'll vote number 1. I'll vote for Baumia on December 7.
We are building a better tomorrow through education. Vote NPP. Vote number 1. Vote Baumia. Baumia means business. Esro.
Ago Omambapa, the time to exercise your civic duty is here again. This year, we the good people of Ghana have another opportunity to elect our leaders on December 7. This is a very important national exercise and you have the civic duty to make that decision for Ghana. Don't be indifferent because your vote counts. Vote on issues. Don't sell your vote. Reject violent candidates and expose acts that undermine the integrity of the elections. Don't attempt to snatch a ballot box or deface political party posters. The law will deal with you. December 7, 2024 is election day. Pick up your voter's ID card. Get to your polling station. Follow the voting process. Make that bold decision for Ghana. Vote peacefully. Ghana must win. Vote on December 7. It's your civic duty.
Civic duty required of you as a Ghanaian. So get involved and vote.
A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Wekoma and Nonfufua, a daily star 712 hash, and found no regrets. A Sankoma investors are a striking gold. A Koma health workers are a diagnosing luck with precision. A Sankoma that tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. Say a Koma passionate fan on also entering containing a joy. After to the stressor or turning the hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, a Koma, if you say your next big win is right here.
Dial star 712 hash and join the luckiest winning celebration. From the 1st of July 2024, dial star 712 hash to keep buying tickets as a group, individual, or even as a community. Win loads of cash and prizes in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Join the winning streak now.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Imagine having access to top-notch educational resources, no matter your grade of school or location in Ghana. With the Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank, you can tap into a vast library of resources, even in offline mode. From primary all the way to tertiary education, we've got you covered. As a student, you have access to past questions from 1990 to date for BEC, WASSCE, and tertiary test examinations. As a teacher or lecturer, you can hold virtual classes for your students and share your lecture notes for their use. As an educator or researcher, you can publish your books or articles for public consumption. And lastly, you have your own studies teacher or AI tutor who is trained to teach you in any subject topic till you fully understand. So whether you're a student, educator, content creator, researcher, or entrepreneur, the Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank was made just for you. Sign up today at www.gksb.gov.gh. The Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank, where learning has no limits and the possibilities are endless. This project was financed by the World Bank under the erstwhile e-Transform project at the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight with me, James Ishen. Let's settle for the details now, but let's do some habitat story now as the 2024 edition of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair themed Get a House, Make It a Home started today. The 4-day fair offers patrons exciting deals, special offers, and free consultations for all housing needs. This year's event kicked off today at the Accra International Conference Center and will run until November 2, 2024. My colleague Winston Taki was at the fair engaging with companies.
But they don't know what type of genset they need. Come talk to us. We will sit down with you with our experts and our engineers. Most of our employees are actually engineers. I mean, even our salespeople. They will advise you the size that you need. I have a kettle, I have a light, I have a bulb. These are the things that I have. We'll be able to do calculations for you, let you know exactly the size that you need. And then we will before we go to the commercial side, we'll see how you want to pay, how much it is, and then how much you want to. And if you come to the fair, you can earn up to about 10% discount.
And that's my colleague Winston Taki. They're interacting with some patrons and exhibitors at the Accra Conference Center. Now, let's do one of our headline stories. As the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research has issued a cautionary call for fiscal restraint as the country heads into the 2024 election year, stressing the importance of maintaining recent economic gains. It's admonished government not to overspend, especially with 2024 being an election year. The following report has more.
In its State of the Ghanaian Economy report, ISE highlighted the risks of election year spending on Ghana's financial stability, underscoring the need for fiscal discipline to protect key improvements in inflation, interest rates, and exchange rate stability achieved in 2024. According to ISE, 2024 holds greater growth prospects and key macroeconomic indicators such as inflation, interest rate, and exchange rate depreciation remain relatively improved compared to 2022, the report noted. The institute warned that Ghana must break away from the elections business cycle if it is to secure the gains in long term. It cautioned that the true state of the economy will emerge in the first quarter of 2025, adding that overspending in an election year can obscure underlying economic vulnerabilities and postpone needed reforms. The ISE report also highlighted the long-standing challenge posed by increased government expenditure in election years, often leading to inflationary pressures and fiscal deficits.
And that was a news desk report. Now, government must be deliberate about adopting homegrown policies to ensure sustainable business practices to promote long-term economic growth and development. This is the view of the Chief Executive Officer of Petrosol Platinum Energy Limited, Michael Buzumbiam. He contends the business climate must be friendly to enable local businesses to thrive in the wake of the economic difficulties, delivering the keynote address at the 48th Annual General Meeting of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Bozumbil challenged businesses to develop a purpose-driven plans to withstand shocks.
Sustainable economic development when we have Ghanaians in charge largely, of the key sectors of the economy. And for that to happen, whilst we push governments to try and support, this presentation is targeted at our colleagues, my colleagues in the business sector, that it's got to a point where we have to take our destinies in our hands, because we constantly, advocate for support from government. Yes, we desire that government will support us, but where government fails, what do we do? And so this presentation is just directed at us to say that we should try and wake up and determine to succeed. And to do that, one, we must comply, because compliance is key. So my advice to indigenous businesses is that know where you are from. So we are from a very hostile environment where there isn't much support from the states to indigenous players.
The annual general meeting was on the theme adopting sustainable business practices to promote long-term economic growth and development. Let's do some other stories. With Africa's population expected to double to reach 2.5 billion by 2050, representing 25% of the world's population, Stanbic Bank Ghana has unveiled its new youth banking services. The product includes the Blue First account for kids below 18 years of age and the Gen Blue account for persons 18 to 25 years. Speaking to Joy Business business after a short ceremony to launch the product. Chief Executive Officer of Stanbic Bank Ghana, Kwamna Sumeni, said the package comes with a chatbot service called Ohima Eva.
So the last 2 years have been difficult with the debt exchange, and prior to that we had COVID. But I believe the banking sector has recovered, Stanbic has recovered, and we've resumed our growth trajectory. We have a lot of exciting products and solutions for targeted customers, and we will continue to meet our customers at their points of need. We'll continue to help them create value, and that value should benefit both themselves and ourselves.
Kwamna Sumeni is the Chief Executive Officer of Stanbic Bank Ghana. Finally, the Director at the PwC South Africa, Marco Lute, is urging businesses to invest in cybersecurity infrastructure to safeguard their information and operations. According to Lute, strengthening cybersecurity can enhance trust when dealing with both domestic and international threats. He was speaking on the sidelines of PwC Cyber Forum in Accra.
There's no silver bullet to cybersecurity, so essentially, no level of investment might be enough. I think it is going the mile that you need to go to understand what the industry is doing, understand what your competitors are doing countries-wise, being up to date and so forth. And I think investing in the right people, technology, tools usually goes a long way with those.
Marco Lute is the director at the PwC South Africa. And that's all for business on Newsnight with me, James Eshen. Over to you, Evans. But Evans, will be expecting St. Thomas Aquinas next year.
Yes, of course. I mean, when it comes to day schools in this country and the record at the NSMQ, we are still the best.
Well, let's see.
No, it's not let's see. It's a matter of fact, historical fact. A certain Emefa Apawu chose to actually disappear tonight because her school was nowhere to be found in the entire competition. And so, yes, thank you very much.
Thank you too much.
A few of your messages on our WhatsApp console. Musa Abacha says, Evans' lawyer Frank Davis' argument is it anything to do tomorrow JM can appoint lawyer Amaliba CJ to oversee cases with political implications. Michael says he's from Semedo in the Volta region. Says, congratulations to Kitasco. Volta region is proud of you. Angoland is proud of you. Keta is proud of you. Jolali, now or never. Alfred says, some of us are really surprised at the attitude and the high horse on which Frank Davis was mounting. Certainly, even though some of us are not lawyers are effectively educated and broke down the issues to our understanding. Nane Kwama Boateng says, I'm not surprised at the NDC lawyers' comments regarding the Supreme Court's rulings. It is tried knowledge that the NDC lacks consistency and credibility when it comes to issues with court verdicts. And Nee from Mamobi says, how will the MPP lawyers see something wrong with what the Supreme Court is doing? It's glaring, and he says it sets a bad precedent. A few of your comments there. This is your election headquarters.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA) and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, Shopbox Technologies, a convenient service, Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development, and Syntex Tanks. A year strong, a year tough.
Well, the campaign trail has been hot. Questions flying, both from Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice President, and John Dramani Mahama, who tonight is firing back and has descended heavily on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia over what he described as his deliberate attempt to ignore his pressing 5 questions on the economy. Speaking to supporters at a campaign event at Sabalugu, Mr. Mahama expressed surprise his main challenger in the December elections is not interested in the pressing economic issues.
And I saw 50 questions to me. It looks like our Vice President has just learned those things in the 50 questions the way we used to learn Baba, Black Sheep, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Because I asked you 5 simple questions on the economy. That's all. Simple questions that Ghanaians want you to answer. You go and respond with how many compost plants, how many compost plants did you build, how many this did you build. That is not what the issue is in Ghana today. Let me take you down memory lane. In 1992, there was an election in America. It was between Bill Clinton and George Bush Sr. At that time, the American economy was in recession, the way the Ghanaian economy is in crisis today. And people were talking about immigration, talking about all kinds of useless things. You know what the Clinton people said? It is about the economy, stupid. Today, I'm repeating those words. This election is about the economy, stupid. It's not about all those other useless things about who built how many compost plants. Answer the 5 simple questions. And you can't hide behind the debate. You don't need the debate to answer the 5 questions. When you ask Mensah 170 questions, you did not agree to go and debate for him to answer them. Ghanaians are asking you 5 simple questions. Just answer them. Akufo-Addo too, I've given him 2 questions. They should come and answer them. That's all Ghanaians are looking for. You have destroyed the economy. That is the truth. Even if you look at the 50 questions he asked me, he has skillfully avoided the economy. There's nothing about the economy in those 50 questions. And that's why I gave you the 5th question. Why are you running away from economy? Because you were brought in to fix the economy.
Well, Miracle Sabaja speaks for the Vice President's campaign and joins us on the line. Is the Vice President running away from the economy?
Evans, I think we need to take the Ghanaian voter seriously and begin to look the former president in the eye and say, listen, elevate the conversation, get serious on the campaign trail and talk about the issues. Has he himself answered any question on the economy? Has he told the people of Ghana how he's going to fix whatever issue he thinks he has with the economy? What is the economy? Today, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been with the local transport operators launching an app to stimulate the transport sector to boost their income in that sector so they can be very competitive. Is that not the economy? As we speak this evening, he's on his way to go and have an engagement with the creative arts industry. They are launching a streaming platform that would ensure that our creative arts musicians will have their outputs on these platforms and make some good money for themselves. Is that not the economy? What is the former president talking about? What does he mean by he's running away from the economy?
Well, he asked 5 questions. Have you answered any?
The economy.
He asked 5 questions. Have you answered any?
Who made him the examiner? When we said that he should come for a debate, why didn't he come for that debate? If you want answers to those questions, he should come for a debate. Why is he running away from the debate? What makes him think? Or when he made that comment and we refuse to respond, so he thinks that he can just throw things around and insult everybody all over. When we invited him for a debate, didn't he say that the vice president should go and debate to the people and that he should go and respond to the people? That's what the vice president has been doing. What makes the former president think that he can decide when to ask questions when he himself has said verbatim that he's not going to debate any of the 12 contestants and that he is above all of them? Then you run away from a debate and go and stand on the hinges, and then you ask questions. And then you think that people should just run and come and respond to your 5 questions. When you yourself, you have refused to make yourself available to engage the people in any meaningful conversation. Who told him that he sets the questions? And who told him that he gets answers when he wants?
Well, ironically, you're asking these questions about whether he is the chief examiner or not. But Bawumia, in fact, he set that precedent by bombarding the former vice president, may he still rest in perfect peace, with more than 100 questions. So
first of all,
where's the consistency?
This is the problem I always have. Whenever did you hear the vice president set questions for Dr. Mensah? And that is another erroneous misreporting.
But he invited him to answer those questions. He put those questions out.
Evans,
are you saying he didn't ask those questions?
Evans, the vice president verbatim wrote what he said. He put out 170 statements. And then the former vice president, Mensah, is the one who came and said he's studying it and he will respond. Then the vice president said, well, I'm waiting for your response. So let's even correct that in the first place. He never put any 170 questions out. When you look at the 170, they are statements. They are not questions.
I see. Miracles, thank you very much. By the way, talking about the vice president, though, he has been meeting with the police. He's urged the Ghana Police Service to ensure peace, transparency, and order during December's general elections.
For this year's election, it is important to take stock and know that we have been here and done it before. Since 1992, We have succeeded in organizing election after election, and this year's election will be no different. We as a nation have become good at it, with the police at the center of our election security task force. We are assured of a successful 2024 general election. However, we must not be complacent and rest on our previous achievements, for every election presents its own nuanced situation. We are, however, confident of the professionalism of the police. The police is always at the center of elections security in Ghana.
Well, later in the day, the Vice President launched the Ghanaian-built ride-hailing app, Go Ride. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the launch, said the app will maximize profit for taxi drivers who were almost pushed out of business by foreign ride-hailing apps. And that's it for News Night tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And indeed, congratulations to the boys from Infanta Pim. Enjoy your evening, and better luck next time to Ogasco and Kita SHTS.